I want to address just a couple of, I guess, maybe words today that come into play whenever we start talking about people who contemplate suicide, or maybe reasons why people are on the edge, that sometimes can feel like they live on the edge in their mind. Is one of the words I want to say is that people feel powerless. There's a sense of hopelessness that comes with feeling powerless, that no matter what I do, life's not working. No matter what I've done to feel better, I don't feel better. No matter what has happened so far, it just looks like I'm just doomed, that I'm not ever going to be happy. And so I realized that there's I was reading a sort of this chat room thing I discovered on the internet, and listening to people who was just talking amongst themselves that have suicide ideations, that fight these thoughts, and that one of the things that even the thought of suicide sometimes brought them a feeling of comfort or peace, that they had some power, that when things got too bad, they could keep that as an option because I can check out. And not only I can do it, nobody's going to stop me. I can do that. There's a powerfulness of thinking, I can do that. I may not be able to do that, but I can do this. And not only that they can do it, but they can decide how, where, and when. And so I understand that this can feed into the very thing that we need. Nobody was meant to live powerless or helpless, or to be so passive in this world that they allow people to run over them, use them, abuse them. But sometimes we can get in our mind that that's how it's going to be, which is one of those lies that I talk about. Don't buy the lie. The reality is you're more powerful than what you think. Yeah, it's true. You do have the power whether you're going to end your life or not. If that's what you decide to do, really and truly, we know you can find a way. And I had to give up that a long time ago. I've had so many people in my life that have made the choice that I've known to take their life, that I had to give up the fact that somehow that was my fault, or somehow I could have stopped that. There's always the coulda, woulda, shouldas. But the reality is I've had to empower friends of mine to be able to say, look, it's going to tear me up. It's going to affect me for the rest of my life if you choose to take your life. But I need you to know that that's your choice. I cannot take responsibility of the person who's going to be able to stop this. You have the power. I don't have that power. And so that's why I want you to really think about this ahead of time. I'm hoping today that you're not on this site because you're in a crisis. You may be. And if you are, you need to get help as soon as possible. My job here today is not to try to be a crisis interventionist. But whatever I do, that's just what I do. I don't think it's an accident you're on here today. But I do know that you need to understand beforehand that it's a big fat lie that you're powerless. It's not true. You do have power. You do have decision-making power, but you need to make it when you're not in a crazy moment, that you're not in an out-of-control moment, that then you really are powerless to stop it. When you get in that place, it can take you over. It's like so many other things in life, that you can't wait till you get there. It's kind of like, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but we were foster parents for years, and for 14 years actually, and most of the time we had teenagers, most of them teenage girls, because we had 2 little girls in our house. So we took these teenage girls in, and they're not easy, because you have teenage girls, you're also going to have teenage boys. They're going to have relationships. They have power. So if they come to you and they've lived in their family for 15 years and their lifestyle, whatever that might be, and all of a sudden they're in your family, and you got different rules, you got different expectations, and so we've had girls that would run away. We had more than one run away. But I had to learn real fast to tell these girls when they came to my house or these young men, whoever it was at the house, to say, look, that lock is locked from the inside. We're not locking you in the house. You have the capacity to go walk out that door anytime. You can open that door. We know that. We could be fast asleep and we can wake up in the morning and you've called a friend. They've met you down the end of the road here and you're gone. So that is your choice. We cannot keep you here. Our job here is to love you and provide a safe place for you, and to do the best we can and to do while you're in this family crisis. Whether you ever go back home or you age out, whatever the deal is in the system, we're here to help you. It's our choice to pick you and to love you the best we can. But the reality is they could leave, and sometimes they did. But I would tell them ahead of time, look, you have the power. It's really in your hands. But I have to tell you what I have to do. If you choose to walk out that door and we wake up and you're gone, or you don't get off the bus after school, actually you just got in the car with somebody and took off to wherever, I have to call the police and I have to call your caseworker. And it's out of my hands. They're probably not going to bring you back to the house that you ran away from. I don't have a say in it. Once you've left my care, I have no say. So you better know ahead of time that if that's a choice you make in one of those crazy moments, you don't like the rules, or all of a sudden you got in a spat with one of the other kids, and all of a sudden you're just going to show me. You better make sure before you know when you go down that road that you've just made a choice that now you're not going to get to come back. You're going to live with the consequences. As much as I love you, as much as I want you back. So I say the same thing to you. If you decide to take your life, that's your choice. There's no coming back. You just have to be able to think ahead of time to go, when I make that's even more final than running away. Because no matter what else was going to happen the next day, no matter what was going to change, it's too late. You've just ended all possibilities of things getting better. And you've definitely made it absolute that anybody that cared about you is going to suffer because of your decision. So all I can do today is to empower you and to say, there are choices. You may have been a victim when you were little. You might have been a victim in a relationship. We feel powerless usually because at some point in our life we was a victim. Those kids that was in our care, they were victims. They were victims of somebody in their family that their home was not in a safe place. And then it was out of their control what the courts did with them. They're minors. They didn't have any power. So it's real tempting to use a power when they did have it. To go, well, I can't, you can't make me stay up. You're right, I can't. And I'm not even going to attempt to. It's like people who have eating disorders. I can't control this, but I control what I eat. There's other things that we have out of our life that we know that's out of our control. But we don't want to get to the place where we then do something that's absolutely absurd. That's not even the word. It's just crazy to do it. Because the reality is, you are not powerless. You might have been a victim at some point. You're not a victim today. You're not. So don't victimize yourself. It's only going to be called suicide because it's not homicide. It's not somebody else's doing. It's your doing if you do this. You have the power. What is in your sphere of possibilities? What powers do you have that you can decide other than taking your life to end your pain? Do you need your pain ended? Of course you do. Do you need to find purpose in living? Of course you do. Don't end the possibilities of that, but that's your choice. And nobody is going to be able to stop you. And if you're one of those people, especially young people, you think you're going to, hurt the people that's hurting you. Well, they're going to regret it. They're going to regret it when they walk past my casket. Yeah, they are, but you're not going to be around to know they regretted it. It's not going to do you any good because you're gone. Yeah, they may regret that. This is so much bigger than what it does for somebody else. This is about you, your living, your purpose, your power. You are not powerless. You are not a victim. You are not have to be passive and let people run over you. Get some help. Let somebody else know that you feel passive or powerless or helpless. Because I guarantee they can be able to point out some things to you and help you know that you have power that you've not even tapped into yet.